All right, what will I debunk today?
Why is homosexuality a sin?
It's not a sin, but let's hear it. Also, before I start, I would like to debunk someone real fast. Leviticus isn't meant for us, and it's about pedophilia. Romans is about how men think they are smarter than women. Even verses before 26 says it. Jude says nothing but Sodom and Gomorrah, and that is because they were rapists. We have no clue what 𝒂𝒂𝒕𝒉 means, and our best guess is 𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒕 means pedophilia. 1 Corinthians 7 verse 2 says nothing. 2 Corinthians 5 to 17 says nothing. It's about abusers, not gay people. Genesis 2 verse 24 and Mark 10 verses 6 to 9 says nothing. Anyways, there is your debunked 𝒍𝒊𝒌𝒆. Back or the main person.
From a Christian worldview that treats the Bible, especially Genesis, as authoritative, homosexuality is considered sign, based on God's intended design for human relationships.
Just because something wasn't intended doesn't make it a sin.
In Genesis, God created two beings, a man and a woman. The purpose of this design is companionship, procreation, and covenant union.
True, but God made them to take care of the garden. But even then, that doesn't prove it's a sin.
Male and female are created to complement one another in a way that makes one flesh union possible, most clearly through their biological capacity for reproduction and lifelong partnership.
So why is lust a sin? By that logic, that means lust is not a sin. Now tell me, what is a woman? Trans women and trans men are really the counter to this argument. If one man and one woman becomes one flesh, what is a man and what is a woman?
While men and women may also display average differences in physical and cognitive traits.
Cognitive traits is not a good argument. Where would autistic people fit into this?
The core of this complementarity is rooted in creation itself, not stereotypes. From a Christian framework, actions that depart from this created purpose are considered sign. Sin is defined as falling short of God's intended design and standards.
God never asked for us to make the internet, but it was a good thing so that wouldn't work here. Just because there are actions that departed from the purpose doesn't mean they are sin.
Not only did he do that for humans, but for every creature down to flowers.
I just leave this here for a sec.
The rib used to create Eve signifies equality and unity. Eve was made from Adam and was made equal to Adam, bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh, establishing their fundamental one flesh.
This is true, but that has nothing to say about gay people.
Unity as described in Genesis 2:24, the foundational passage for marriage.
It was more like showing what marriage was over what marriage is forced to be.
Their union, ordained by God and marked by Adam's declaration of her as his counterpart, became the blueprint for all marriages, emphasizing leaving parents and cleaving to a spouse. Jesus also refers back to this in Matthew 19.
Just to sum up what I said, it's more common if you say one man and one woman over two men.
4-6 when redefining marriage, and Paul refers back to Genesis as well in Ephesians 5:21-33, presenting marriage as a covenant between husband and wife that reflects Christ and the church.
Husband and wife. Wouldn't that mean God has a gender, but we know he doesn't? Also, what makes a guy unable to be the wife submitting herself, as it says in 22?
And Scripture consistently presents marriage and sexual union within this male-female covenant. Christian theology concludes that sexual activity outside of this framework, whether heterosexual or homosexual, falls outside God's intended design and is therefore classified as sin.
That is a crazy jump to make. Yes, it says that a lot, but the problem comes when you realize that just because it says something doesn't make it true. It's more normal for you to say a man and woman over two men.
This conclusion concerns actions, not human worth, since Christianity teaches that all people are made in God's image and equally in need of grace. The only questions that I think might come up is, well, animals practice homosexuality. Animals aren't really a good moral example, since in Christianity morality isn't derived from nature, but from God's commands and design. Animals are not made in God's image, meaning their behaviors, whether cooperative or violent, are descriptive of nature, not prescriptive for human ethics.
This falls apart. God made everything, and if he is all-knowing and all-powerful, that means he knew that we would use this as a talking point, but yet he didn't make them not gay for a reason.
So using animals neither condemns or justifies human moral actions.
Most people doesn't use it as a way to say that it's right. We only use it when it says it's unnatural.
Okay, but are you saying marriage is only for procreation? No, Christianity doesn't teach this, but procreation is one of the purposes, not the only purpose.
I talked about this point a bit ago, so I won't say it again.
Last question, 𝒂𝒂💐, but homosexuality is love. Love can't be a sign. Christians don't believe love itself is a sin, but that not every loving desire or relationship is rightly ordered.
I can feel where you are going with this.
This statement is based on the human knowledge of what love is, but we have to remember that God is love, and if we can't fully understand God, I think humanity's understandings of love is real but also limited.
No, not really. We understand what love is, and we love people. Just because someone say it's bad doesn't mean it's bad.
Sure, you can use feeling to define it, but the Bible tells us our feelings can divide us. Therefore, I do not believe that is reliable. We can create all different meanings for love, but at the end of the day, God's definition is greater than ours.
Yes, it is, because he is all-knowing, but the problem with that is if he is all-knowing, he would know why to get us not to sin as much. But there's really no reason why gay is a sin, because it's love.
So Christianity doesn't say love is a sin. It says love must be expressed in ways consistent with God's design. So I hope this video clears the air.
A lot of things we do aren't in God's design, but isn't a sin. Now a question no Christian that thinks being gay is a sin can answer. If being gay is a sin, why is it a sin